All right, hi guys. So this is Unit 7, Day 3. We are continuing what we just learned about Day 1. This time, our objective for the day. So objective, you guys know I write crooked anyway. So objective for the day is I can calculate exponential functions or exponential growth or exponential decay. Using a formula. Okay, so as it says, our objective is I can calculate exponential growth or exponential decay using a formula. As you guys know, just now when we did our Day 1 and our Day 2, we talked about the formula for graphing. Now I'm going to give you two formulas. These formulas will be used to calculate exponential growth or exponential decay. And there will be word problems. I know how much you guys love them. So that's what we're going to be doing. Don't worry, it's not hard at all. Just pay close attention, okay? So as I said, we're talking about exponential growth and exponential decay. So I'm going to split it down the middle. One side is going to be for growth, and the other side is going to be for decay, okay? So first side is growth, like I said, and then the other side is decay. All right, so you guys know the formula we just used. It was y equals a times b, and it was raised to the x power. Now within this formula, we talked about that our a is the y-intercept. So a equals y-intercept. We said that our b, in this case, since we're talking about growth, our b is the growth rate. And the way we'll know that from the formula is that our b is greater than 1. Once we see that our b is greater than 1, we know that we're talking about growth. When we see this formula, we know for a fact we're talking about growth when we're graphing this. Now, if we're going to calculate it, there's another formula. Now, this formula is a equals p, and then parentheses, 1 plus r. Everything is going to be raised to the power of t. Now you're probably like, what does this mean? What are you talking about? But don't worry, we'll go over it, okay? Just hold on to it for now. So again, it's a equals, and this is the equal sign, equals p, parentheses 1 plus r. Everything's raised to the power of t. Okay, let's go to the other side. Let's talk about decay. Now for decay, again, using the same formula for graphing, the a is still our y-intercept. So a is still y-intercept. Our b, it's no longer growth rate, how it was over here. Our b is now decay rate. Remember I said b is either growth rate or decay rate. So in this case, since we're talking about decay, it's going to be our decay rate. However, for this time, our b is now less than, oh, I should have did a, hold on one second. So our b is now less than 1. When you see this, when you see y equals a b value, or y equals a times b, and that b value is less than 1, so meaning a fraction or 2 over 3 or anything that's less than 1, then you know for a fact that you're talking about decay. And this time, and when you're going to calculate it, it has its own formula as well. It's the same numbers, but there is a difference. See if you can spot it. A equals P, parentheses, 1 minus R, all raised to the power of T. Now take a look at both formulas. This one's for growth. This one is for decay. Can you see the difference? You should be able to see that there's a plus sign here and there is a minus sign here. Now that's a big indicator that tells you that this one's for growth. Obviously, plus means you're gaining something. And then this is a minus sign, so you're losing something, right? So it talks about decay. So I'm gonna bubble these up because they're very important and you're gonna definitely use them during your worksheets for day 3. Okay, so now let's talk about what do these values mean, or what is A, P, and R, and T? Like what do they actually stand for? So the A is your final amount. So it's like, what am I looking for, right? That's what that A is. And then P is what we like to call a principal. Principal is just, well, not Mr. Lehan, okay? So principal is basically your original amount. It's what you started with. So original amount. Again, excuse this writing that I'm providing you guys with today. The R over here, 1 is just 1, doesn't mean anything funny. The R is rate. Now, the key thing about the R value and it being rates is that when you're writing it down, you can't just write down whatever rate they give you in the word problem. You have to change this to be a decimal. So for instance, they give you a rate of 2%, right? Because rates are percentage. They give you a rate of 2%. When you're writing it down, you got to turn this into a decimal, so it would be 0.02. Or if they give you a rate of, I don't know, 10%, when you're turning this into a decimal, it would be 0.1. If you don't know how to find these into decimals, all you do, for instance, if it was 2, you would do 2 divided by 100, and you'll get 0.02. Or if it's 10, you'll do 10 divided by 100, and you'll get 0.10, okay? That's how you find them if you're wondering. But yeah, so anytime they give you a rate, you always want to make sure you change it up to be a decimal. And the last part is that T right there, which you may have guessed it, but T just means your time. And in all your problems, your word problems, they're always going to provide you with some kind of time. It may be in years, it may be in hours, it may be in weeks, but whatever time they give you, just use that for your T, okay? So now let's do an actual example so you guys can see this thing in action, and then you're not scared at all. I'm gonna flip this over. Okay, so example number 1, and again, I'm gonna write crooked because y'all know I'm weird. Example 1, okay? So for example number 1, it says, I'm gonna give you a word problem. Remember I said all of these are word problems, but don't freak out because it's not hard at all. This word problem says, if you invest $40 in an account for 10 years, at a rate of 3%, how much money will you gain? So again, my word problem says, if you invest, and it's supposed to be a big I. This is why I'm not an English teacher, you guys. But if you invest $40 in an account for 10 years at a rate of 3%, how much money will you gain? So it's giving us a lot of information. We're trying to pull some things out, right? Remember, both of our formulas both have a A, they have a P, they have an R, and they have a T. Or we're trying to find the A, I should say that. So let's see if we can pull those things out. So, and I'll write the both formulas right here so you can see that. Remember, the A is equal to P, parentheses, 1 plus R, raised to the power of T, or A is equal to P, parentheses, 1 minus R, and that's raised to the power of T as well. So those are your two formulas that you're picking from in order to find out this information, okay? So our information, again, $40 in an account for 10 years at a rate of 3%. How much money will you gain? So right away it says $40, right? So this $40 right here, it's what you have already. It's your original account. It's what you're starting off with. So this is your original amount. This is our P. Then it says you invest $40 in an account for 10 years. What do you guys think this 10 is? Well, obviously it's not the rate, it's not a percent. That's gonna be your time, right? And then this one at a rate, it even tells you at a rate of 3%, so that's gonna be our R right there. Now, as you can see, we have our P, we have our T, we have our R. What do you guys think though? What formula am I gonna use? Am I gonna use the one that has a plus, or am I gonna use the one that has a minus sign? Now again, remember, we're talking about it's either increase or it's decrease. Now look at your problem and see if you can spot a word that talks about either increase or decrease. See if you can spot the word. If you guys look at it, you should see at the very end, it says, how much money will you gain? So this idea about gaining something is obviously, you're not gonna start off with what you had before, you're gonna gain more money, so it's gonna increase. So this has to be the one that has to do with the plus sign, because that says that's our increase or our growth rate. So we're gonna use this formula right here. So I'm gonna write it back over here, so just so it'll be right on top of it. So A equals P parentheses 1 plus R, and then raise to the power of T. I'm just gonna plug in all the information that I know from this problem. So my P is 40, then it's 1 plus R. Remember, we cannot write it as 3. We have to change this 3 into a decimal. So that's gonna be 0.03. And then raise to the power of T. T is going to be our time, which is 10 years. So we'll put a 10 right there. And literally, exactly how this looks is exactly how you should put it into your calculator. Remember, this 10 is an exponent, so you have to put the caret key, and then you'll put it up. And I'll even write how it should look in your calculator. So it should be 40, 1 plus 0.03, and then a caret key, and then 10. This is how you should write it in your calculator, because then you're going to get the exact correct answer. And if you do it correctly, you will get the answer of 53.76. I did round to the second value, so just have 2 decimal places. You don't need to write the whole thing. So it'll be $53.76. This will be how much money you'll gain over 10 years. So again, you start off with $40 with a 3% interest rate. You were able to get $53.76. So it's very easy. We had this word problem right here. We took out all the information that we needed to take out, and we were able to get our answer, which is our A, which is our final amount. See, it's super easy, right? Again, if you guys have any questions in class, I'll be right there. Let me know, okay? That is it.